Nothing will change until you kill the weaker version of yourself. You know the one I'm talking about, the version that hits snooze, that breaks promises to yourself, that hides behind excuses and always finds a reason not to try. That version is the reason you feel stuck, the reason your goals keep getting pushed to someday. If you want to take back control of your life, you have to get brutally honest. No more saying you'll do it later, no more telling yourself maybe tomorrow. You've tried that, it didn't work. This time you need to mean it. This time you need to act. This audiobook is not about motivation that fades after 5 minutes. It's about training your mind to fight back against your old habits. It's about becoming someone who shows up, no matter how tired, unmotivated, or distracted you feel. If you're ready to rebuild your mindset and take your life seriously, then start here. This is where it changes. Chapter 1. Delete the version of you that keeps quitting. Delete the version of you that keeps quitting. That version of you has taken enough from your life. That version wasted your time. It delayed your goals. It made you hide when things got hard. It convinced you that stopping was smarter than trying again, and it always shows up when you need to show strength the most. But here's the truth. You don't need that version anymore. In fact, keeping that version around is exactly what's keeping you small. If you want real change, you have to make a decision. That version of you has to go. You've got to be honest with yourself right now. Every time you gave up on something you started, every time you walked away because things felt uncomfortable, that version of you got stronger. You trained yourself to quit, and you didn't even realize it. You trained your mind to avoid effort. You trained your body to sit still when it should have moved. You trained your habits to choose comfort over progress. You didn't wake up one day and decide to be weak. It happened slowly. But now you know. Now you see it. And the good news is, you can delete it. That weak version of you, it's not who you are. It's who you allowed to grow. But growth works both ways. Just like you grew that quitter inside you, you can also starve it. You can shrink it. You can replace it, but not by thinking about it, not by writing it down, not by wishing. You do it through action. You do it by pushing through one more hour. You do it by showing up when everything in you says stop. You do it by doing hard things even when nobody's looking. The weak version of you loves excuses. It always has one ready. It says, you're tired. It says, this isn't the right time. It says, maybe later. And the more you believe it, the more your life starts to reflect those choices. Nothing gets finished. Goals get half-built. Promises get broken, and your confidence slowly disappears. But when you stop giving power to that voice, when you stop listening to the part of you that wants out, you start getting stronger. One moment at a time. Every day you're faced with two options. Either you feed the version of you that quits, or you feed the version that fights. There is no middle ground. Every decision you make, whether to keep going or to stop, decides who you become. That's how habits are built, not in one big aha moment, but in thousands of small ones. And if you keep quitting every time it gets tough, then tough things will always control you. You have to build a new response to pain, because right now, quitting is your response. It's your escape hatch. It's your pattern. And as long as that pattern stays in place, your life won't change. You'll just start more things and finish less. You'll talk a lot, but do very little. And you'll watch time pass without moving forward. It's painful to admit, but it's powerful to realize. Because if you can see the problem, you can fix it. You kill that weak version by doing the opposite of what it wants. When it says stop, you go. When it says relax, you push. When it says it doesn't matter, you remind yourself that it does. That's how you flip the switch. Not with hype, not with loud motivation, but with quiet decisions made over and over again. The weak version dies every time you choose to keep going. Think about all the things you walked away from too early, the habits you started and never stuck with, the goals you set and dropped when it got real. You weren't too weak to achieve them. You just listened to the wrong voice. And you've done it enough. Now it's time to take control of your actions, not your feelings, your actions. Because the truth is, you won't always feel strong. You won't always feel motivated. But if you act strong, you will become strong. And if you act weak, you'll stay that way. That's what people forget. Strength doesn't come before the action. It comes after. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you build, and you build it by refusing to quit. That's the foundation of everything. You don't need to be the smartest. You don't need to be the fastest. You need to keep going. That's what separates those who make it from those who don't. They keep going when the rest sit down. They keep pushing when the pressure shows up. They keep working when it's boring, frustrating, exhausting. And here's something else. You're going to feel like quitting again. It's not a one-time decision. It's not something you hear once and everything changes. The weak version of you will show up tomorrow. It will show up next week. It will try again. And when it does, you'll have a choice to make again. That's how real change works. It's not about motivation. It's about discipline. And discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when the old version of you wants out. Your job now is to make quitting feel unfamiliar. You've made it a habit for too long. Now it needs to feel uncomfortable. You have to get used to finishing. You have to get used to follow through. You have to get used to showing up when it's hard. And the more you do that, the more your life begins to change. Your results start catching up to your intentions. Your self-respect starts rising. You stop doubting yourself so much because now you've got evidence. You've got proof that you can do what you say. You're not just hoping anymore. You're not just talking, you're doing. That's the difference between the weak version and the strong one. One hides behind reasons, the other moves with purpose. And every action you take makes one of them stronger. So the question is, who are you training today? If you're still stuck in cycles of quitting, that's okay. What matters is what you do next. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to stop running when it gets tough. That's where most people lose. Not in their ability, but in their endurance. They can do it. They just don't stay with it long enough to see results. Don't let that be you anymore. Don't be the person who always starts over. Be the one who finishes. Be the one who proves to themselves they can. Not for applause, not for likes, not for attention, but for you. Because your life is your responsibility. And if the current version of you isn't strong enough to carry it, then you have to build a better one. Not later, not when it's convenient. Now. Delete the version of you that keeps quitting. Erase it with every decision you make. Replace it with a version that doesn't flinch under pressure. Build a version that pushes back when things get hard. Create a version that finishes what it starts. And every single day, wake up and train that version through your actions. That's how it's done. Not with more words, with more discipline. Not with more hype, with more follow-through. Not by waiting to feel ready, but by moving when you don't feel like it. And when you do that long enough, something changes in you. The weak version goes quiet, the strong one takes over, and life finally starts to feel like progress. That's what you came here for, to win the battle in your mind. to stop being dragged around by emotions and distractions, to take control of your future. And the only way that happens is if you kill the part of you that keeps quitting. Kill it with action. Kill it with consistency. Kill it by becoming who you were meant to be, starting today. Chapter 2. Stand up and handle your problems like an adult. Stand up and handle your problems like an adult. That's the chapter of your life you can't skip anymore. This is not about pretending to be strong. It's about finally deciding to stop running from things you know you need to fix. Life does not stop giving you challenges just because you ignore them, and nobody is coming to clean up the mess for you. If you're waiting for someone to rescue you, you'll keep waiting. Adults face what's in front of them. They don't blame. They don't hide. They take responsibility for what's broken and get to work fixing it. You've probably had moments where everything felt too heavy. The stress, the pressure, the problems. They pile up. So you shut down, avoid it, distract yourself, and call it a break. But that break turns into days, then weeks, and sometimes even longer. And while you're avoiding the pain, it grows. It starts controlling you. You start living in reaction to everything instead of taking control. That's how the weak version of you stays alive. It feeds on delay. It feeds on the hope that someone else will figure it out for you. But the truth is, nobody else can handle your life. That's your job. When you start acting like an adult, you stop expecting things to be easy. You stop asking why life is unfair. You stop comparing your struggles to others. You start focusing on the next right move, not the perfect outcome. Because problems don't go away when you cry about them. They don't disappear when you vent to everyone. They go away when you start solving them. Step by step, no matter how tired you are. Adults don't look for comfort first. They look for what needs to be done. They don't care if it's difficult. They know the consequences of putting it off are worse. It's not about age. It's about mindset. There are people in their 40s who still think like children, and there are people in their early 20s who take full ownership of their lives. What separates the two is not how smart they are. It's how real they are with themselves. If something is wrong, they admit it. If they're falling behind, they take action. If they've made mistakes, they learn from them instead of defending them. That's adult thinking. And the moment you embrace it, everything in your life starts to shift. Think about this. How much of your stress right now is coming from things you're not dealing with? Conversations you're avoiding, bills you're not opening, habits you're ignoring, goals you're pretending you still care about but haven't worked on in months. Those things don't go away on their own. They collect interest, they grow, and if you don't face them, they start defining you. That's why people start feeling stuck. It's not because they don't know what to do, it's because they keep putting off what needs to be done. Being an adult means you face your reality exactly how it is. No filters, no spin. If you're out of shape, you say it. If you're not disciplined, you accept it. If you've been making excuses, you call it what it is. That's the starting point. And from there you build, not with perfection, but with consistency. You start fixing what you can with what you have. You stop wishing for better circumstances and start becoming better within your current ones. A lot of people talk about healing, peace, and growth, but they avoid the part that requires action. You can't meditate your way out of a mess you created with your habits. You can't talk your way into progress if your actions don't match. Growth is hard, it hurts, but it builds you into someone who no longer runs when things get hard. You want to be that person who looks problems in the face and says, I can handle this, because that's where real power comes from. Your ability to take control even when you don't feel ready. If you're overwhelmed, simplify. Don't try to solve everything in one day. Pick one issue and work on it today. Then do the next one tomorrow. Progress is built in layers. You build momentum by taking action even when it feels slow. The more you show up for yourself, the more confidence you build. You stop feeling like life is happening to you. You start realizing that you have more control than you thought. And once you taste that control, you'll never want to give it away again. Stop outsourcing your problems to other people. Nobody owes you solutions. Not your parents, not your friends, not your boss, and definitely not the government. The moment you hand off your responsibility is the moment you lose your power. Take it back. Say, "This is on me and I will handle it." That single shift in mindset will raise your standards. You'll stop tolerating weakness from yourself. You'll stop letting yourself off the hook every time things get uncomfortable. It's not about being emotionless. It's about using your emotions the right way. You can cry, you can feel frustrated, but you don't stop moving. Adults feel things, but they don't let those feelings control their life. That's the difference. Your emotions are signals, not orders. You can feel fear and still move forward. You can feel doubt and still take the next step. If you only act when you feel strong, you'll spend most of your life stuck. Strength is built when you act despite the feelings trying to hold you back. One of the best things you can do is set boundaries with yourself. Say, "I will not allow myself to run anymore." Say, "I will deal with my responsibilities like someone who values their life," because that's what this is really about. Self-respect. If you respect yourself, you will not keep abandoning your duties. You will not let laziness run your schedule. You will not act like someone who needs to be pushed every day. You'll do it because it needs to be done. That's the adult in you taking over. And you know what happens when you live that way? Your life starts working. Not perfectly, but better. You stop being reactive. You stop blaming. You stop falling apart every time something unexpected happens. You start becoming solid. You start becoming someone others can count on. You become someone you can count on. That's the greatest feeling in the world, knowing that you show up no matter what. That your word means something. That your effort is consistent even when your emotions aren't. This isn't about being tough for show. It's about building a life that doesn't collapse every time something goes wrong. Because problems will keep coming. That's part of the deal. What changes is how you respond to them. Will you face them or flee? Will you solve them or stack them up? Will you grow stronger or shrink back into excuses? That choice happens daily, not once. Every morning you wake up and decide who's running your life, the child in you or the adult you're becoming. You don't need more time. You need more ownership. You don't need a new plan. You need to follow through on the one you've got. You don't need the perfect path. You need to start walking. That's how you earn your growth. Not by waiting, not by overthinking, but by doing what needs to be done, even when it's boring, even when it's uncomfortable, even when nobody notices. That's how strong people are built. If something's broken in your life, fix it. If something needs to change, start changing it. If you're tired of the results you're getting, stop doing the things that got you here. Take responsibility for every area of your life, not out of shame, but out of strength. That's how you take your power back, not by controlling others, not by changing the world, but by changing how you show up for your own life. Stand up and handle your problems like an adult. It's not a punishment, it's a privilege. You have the ability to face things and make them better. That's something to be proud of. Most people hide, most people delay, but not you, not anymore. You're not built to run, you're built to grow. And starting today, That's exactly what you'll do. One decision at a time, one step at a time, until the old you is gone and the new you, strong, reliable, focused, starts to rise. That's how you kill the weak version of yourself, by becoming the adult your future needs you to be. Starting now.
Chapter 3. Force yourself to act when you feel stuck. Force yourself to act when you feel stuck. Because if you don't, nothing around you will move. Time will keep going. The days will keep passing, but your life will stay in the same place. You'll keep thinking about change, but never experience it. You'll keep talking about growth, but never live it. The feeling of being stuck doesn't just go away on its own. It gets deeper. It becomes your new normal. And if you don't break that pattern with action, it turns into who you are. You've got to interrupt it. And you don't wait for the perfect moment to do it. You create the shift yourself. It starts with the smallest step, not the best step, not the one you saw in a book, just one step that moves you forward, because that's all it takes to crack the freeze. You've been overthinking. You've been waiting to feel ready. But feeling stuck is not a signal to stop. It's a signal to move. The longer you stay still, the more powerless you feel. You're not tired because you've been working too hard. You're tired because your energy is stuck inside you, going nowhere. When you sit in that state too long, your mind starts lying to you. It tells you this is where you belong, that it's fine, that this is just life. But deep down you know better. You don't escape that feeling with more thinking. You escape it with motion. You have to force yourself, especially in those moments when everything in you wants to wait. Waiting is